Hi, I'm meteorologist Kate Hickford with the National Weather Service out of Paducah, Kentucky. And on today's winter episode of Porch Watchin', I'm talking to Barb Gimienti, who is the supervisory nurse for the Mississippi County Health Department in Charleston, Missouri. Welcome, Barb.
Hi, Kate. Thanks for having me.
So today we're talking about frostbite and hypothermia dangers, and there's a lot of kids that like to play outside in the snow, right? And we've got plenty of snow right now. And then parents that are outside with them. Sometimes with these big snowstorms, people are getting stranded in their cars. We hope everyone has an emergency kit and things like that. But frostbite and hypothermia are very real dangers when it comes to the cold. So what can you tell us about that?
So hypothermia happens when your body temperature gets super low, below 95 degrees, and frostbite happens when your skin's actually freezing. So anytime that we're outside in the cold for a prolonged period of time, we're at risk for these things. It's important to know how to treat whenever this is going on, but it's also most important to learn how to prevent that from happening in the first place.
So how can we prevent it?
Well, first of all, if you can stay indoors when the weather's like it's been or when it's super cold, that's the best thing. But obviously, like you said earlier, our kids like to go outside and play, and we need to shovel those driveways to get to work. So when that happens, we need to take just a minute to prepare. When we're getting dressed in the morning, we'd want to dress in layers, but we want to think about those layers when we're putting them on. The layer closest to our skin, we want to not use cotton, so polyester, anything like that that would pull the sweat away from our body. That's going to keep us warmer. And then we want to cover that with something that is going to keep us a lot warmer. So wool, fleece, cotton, something thick to keep us warm. And then the last layer you want to put on, you want it to be waterproof or windproof. That's going to, those combination of those things are going to keep you the most warm. In addition to that, you're going to want to cover your head because you lose a lot of heat from your head. You'll want to put gloves on, maybe a scarf. And some people even have like electrical warm like jackets and hats and boots and things like that. Those are all great ideas to wear when we're outside. And the other thing is when we're going outside, we want to make sure that we schedule in some breaks. So if we're going to have to get that whole driveway done, work on it for a little bit and then go in and warm up and then come back out. Don't try to do it all at once.
Yeah, definitely take time to warm up and things. But if we are starting to get into the danger zone for frostbite and hypothermia, what are some symptoms for frostbite, for example, that we should be looking out for?
So for frostbite, you're going to see things like your hand's going to be getting red, or it's going to look white. You may also start feeling some tingling or numbness. When you have those things going on, that's the beginning of we're starting to be too cold. So we need to stop then and go inside and warm up and then come back out. If we're too busy or we're playing with our kids and we just don't notice, then you may start getting to where your skin is looking waxy. It can be dark gray or it can be black. All of those things represent severe frostbite. So either way, we're going to want to go in the house and we're going to want to remove any wet clothing. You know, your gloves get wet when you're playing in the snow. You're going to want to take those off and you're going to want to start rewarming those body parts that are cold. And you can use warm water to do that, but don't use hot water because that can cause more damage because you might not be able to feel the burn. You also don't want to put your hands and feet right up by a fire. Those things can be dangerous as well. We want to thaw them out more slow than that, and we want to protect our skin. If you go in and you've warmed yourself up and your skin is blistering or it's still dark gray or it's black or they're super stiff and you just don't feel right, we want you to go into an urgent care or an ER and have it checked out. If you're unsure, I always tell people when you're in doubt, have it checked out. So let somebody who's been trained look at it and make sure you don't need further care.
Absolutely. Those are some really wonderful tips and symptoms for frostbite to be on the lookout for. What are some symptoms of hypothermia that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so hypothermia can be mild as well, just like frostbite could. So if you start seeing that your hands are red or that your skin's just feeling really cold or you're getting really clumsy, you're trying to do stuff but you can't hold on to it, or you're stumbling, those can be the beginning signs of hypothermia. Plus obviously we all know we shiver at the beginning, so if we can't get those shiverings under control, we start feeling those things, we need to go inside and we need to get warmed up, but always make sure you take the wet clothing off. So if it starts getting more severe and we start feeling confused or we start feeling like we can't concentrate, we start stumbling a lot or not being able to talk, or if we stop shivering. If we've been shivering and we stop, all those things are signs that hypothermia has advanced. All right, so that can become a medical emergency. If you are not able to think and speak clearly, we want you to have somebody or yourself call 911. We want you to get out of the cold, whether you're cold from the snow like we are here, if you're in water, or if the wind's blowing really hard, we want something to protect you. Take all the wet things off, your wet gloves, your pants, all of that, and then cover yourself with either dry clothing or a dry blanket, or skin-to-skin contact if you have someone else there with you, especially in the course. It's important to not rub our skin with frostbite or with hypothermia because that can cause more damage, but we want to just wait for EMS at that time and take further care with the doctors.
Absolutely. Those are some really wonderful tips about how to stay safe when it comes to frostbite and hypothermia. And we thank you for taking your time today to talk to me. And we hope that everyone stays safe out there today and in the future in the winter. So we'll see you next time on Porch Watching.